Hello, I am Abhijit Shah and welcome to this third video on transient analysis of a series RLC circuit. Series RLC circuits are useful in tuning the strength of radio frequency signals in communication. RLC circuit is also used in different power electronic circuits as an oscillatory circuit or tank circuit. In this video, we will discuss the transient behavior of a series RLC circuit. Here, we will see how the responses in a RLC circuit change from one certain level to some steady state level for different set of values of R, L and C. This is the given RLC circuit connected to a battery or a DC voltage source through a switch S. Let us assume that the circuit was initially relaxed and switch S is turned on at t equal to 0. So before the turn on of the switch, no energy is stored in the circuit, which means the initial charge stored in the capacitor is 0 and initial current through the inductor before turning on this switch is also 0. After turning on the switch, let us apply KVL across this loop. Suppose this is the current IT flowing through the circuit. So by KVL, we get that applied voltage V is the sum of the voltage drops across the resistance, inductance and capacitance. V equal to Ri plus L di dt plus Vc. Vc is the voltage across the capacitance. As we know, current through a capacitor is C times of time derivative of voltage across it. Therefore, voltage across the capacitor can be written in this form: 1 upon C times of time integral of current under the limit 0 to t. The additional term represents the initial voltage across the capacitor, that is Vc0 minus. This is due to stored charges. It is given by Qc0 minus by C. Here we have assumed capacitor stored charge is 0. So Vc0 minus is actually 0. Let us substitute Vc with this expression in the KVL. Now taking derivative with respect to time of the entire KVL, we get derivative of voltage is 0 equal to RIT, derivative of RIT, R is constant, R times of dit dt, plus derivative of this term L is constant, so L of d2it by dt2, and this integral term after taking derivative becomes 1 upon C times of only it. Dividing the entire equation with L, we get a differential equation like this: d2it by dt2 plus R by L dit dt plus it by LC equal to 0. So it can be also written in this form also: I double dot, that is double derivative can be represented using these two dots also, plus R by L times of I dot plus I by LC equal to 0, which is a homogeneous equation of current I. If we have substituted current with C dVc dt in the KVL, we get V equal to RIT, in place of IT we will write C dV dt, so it will become RC dVc dt plus L times of dit dt. So L times of dit dt can be written as C times of double derivative of capacitor voltage Vc, and this, that last term is simply Vct. Now it becomes a differential, second order differential equation of Vc. Dividing the entire equation with LC, we have d2 Vct by dt2 plus R by L dVct dt plus Vct by LC equal to V by LC. It can also be written in the similar format: Vc double dot plus R by L Vc dot plus 1 upon LC Vc, that is equal to V by LC. It is a It is also a second order differential equation, but it is non-homogeneous since the differential equation is not equal to 0. There is a forcing function V by LC in the right hand side. Now let us solve these two differential equations using this initial condition I0 minus equal to I0 plus equal to 0. That means the current flowing through the circuit just before the turn on instant, that is I0 minus, and I0 plus is the current in the circuit just after the switching instant, and which is equal to 0 since the circuit is initially relaxed, and this condition is due to the L inductor. And for the capacitor voltage also, initial capacitor voltage is 0. Before the turn on of the switch, capacitor voltage was 0, and just after the instant of turn on, capacitor voltage is also 0. This is due to the capacitance. So these are our initial conditions. So these are the differential equations of current and voltage Vc, and these two differential equations can also be written in this form: P square plus R by Lp plus 1 upon Lc times of It equal to 0, which is second order homogeneous differential equation, and this equation can be written also in the same format: P square plus R by Lp plus 1 by Lc into Vct, that is equal to V by Lc. So this is our non-homogeneous differential equation of order 2. P represents the DDT operator. Now the solution of current has only complementary function since it's a homogeneous differential equation, but solution of the capacitor voltage has both transient part and steady state part. Transient part, that is the complementary function, and steady state part, which is also known as particular integral, PI. Check that characteristics equation of these two differential equation are same, given by P square plus R by Lp plus 1 upon Lc equal to 0. Let us find the roots of this characteristics equation. So using this relation ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, the roots of the equation is given by minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac by 2a. So using this relation, we can find the root of the characteristics equation given by minus r by 2l plus minus under root r by 2l whole square minus 1 upon Lc. Let us write the first term as minus alpha and the next term with plus minus beta, where alpha is given by r by 2l and beta is under root of r by 2l whole square minus 1 upon Lc. Now let us define few terms: damping factor, natural frequency of oscillation, and damping ratio. So these are the roots of the characteristics equation, and we have assumed this is as minus alpha and this is as plus minus beta. So roots are also in this form: minus alpha plus minus beta. This term alpha given by r by 2l is called damping factor. We will see the significance of such nomenclature later. Let us also introduce a new variable, natural frequency of oscillation, omega n, denoted by omega n, and given by the term 1 upon root Lc. This is our natural frequency of oscillation. And the ratio of these two terms, damping factor and natural frequency of oscillation, this term alpha by omega n, this is known as damping ratio. So the damping ratio in terms of R, L and C values can be obtained by putting the values of alpha and omega n respectively. So alpha is given by R by 12. Let us put alpha equal to R by 12 here, and omega n is given by 1 upon under root Lc. Finally, we have the value of zeta equal to R by 2 times of under root C by L. Now roots of the shear equation, that is the characteristics equation, in terms of damping ratio, natural frequency. As we defined, this is our natural frequency of oscillation omega n given by 1 upon root LC. This one is the damping ratio zeta given by alpha by omega n, and its value is, we have obtained just r by 2 under root c by L. And alpha beta, these are the roots of the equation, minus alpha plus minus beta, where alpha equal to given by r by 12 and beta equal to under root r by 12 whole square minus 1 upon LC we have obtained earlier. Now this is our characteristics equation, and this characteristics equation can be written, this r by L can be written in this form, r by L equal to actually twice alpha. Now alpha can be written as zeta omega n, because from this relation alpha is coming out to be zeta times of omega n. So r by L will be twice zeta omega n. This twice zeta omega n is nothing but r by L, and 1 by LC, since omega n equal to 1 upon root LC, 1 by LC is omega n squared. So this is the characteristics equation in the form expressed with damping ratio and natural frequency. So alpha is coming out to be zeta omega n, and beta is that means beta square, if you square it, beta square will be equal to r by 12, that is alpha square, minus 1 upon LC, that is omega n square. If we take omega n square as common, there will be alpha square by omega n square, which is nothing but zeta. So omega n square is taken common, it will be zeta square minus 1. So beta is actually omega n under root zeta square minus 1. So P12, that is equal to minus alpha plus minus beta, can be written in this form. In place of minus alpha, we will write minus zeta omega n here. From that, plus minus, in place of beta we will write omega n times of under root zeta square minus 1. Let us solve these differential equations of current and voltage Vc from these two initial conditions. Now moving on, for different cases of the roots of the characteristics equation. These are the roots of the characteristics equation, P1 P2 given by minus alpha plus minus beta. Now case 1, discriminants is greater than 0, discriminants of the roots. So P1 beta equal to, that means beta square is a discriminant given by r by 12 whole square minus 1 upon LC, and this beta square is greater than 0, that is positive. That demands r by 12 whole square is greater than 1 upon LC. From that we will get r square is greater than 4L by C. So what is zeta? Zeta equal to r by 2 root C by L. If we take square root of this equation, we will get r is greater than twice of root of L by C. From that we get zeta is greater than 1. Zeta is, that is the damping ratio is higher than unity. The roots would be real and unequal. For this condition, when discriminant is greater than 0, that is positive, that is zeta is greater than 1, that is the damping ratio is higher than unity or positive, these are the roots which are real but unequal. Solution of current will be C1 times of e to the power P1t plus C2 times of e to the power P2t. Let us put the values of P1 and P2. C1 e to the power minus of alpha minus beta t plus C2 times of e to the power minus alpha plus beta t. From that, if we take common e to the power minus alpha t, it would be C1 times of e to the power plus beta t plus C2 times of e to the power minus beta t. By C1 and C2, these are the arbitrary constants. Now, the value of these two arbitrary constants can be obtained from the initial conditions I0 minus equal to I0 plus equal to 0, which is demanded by the inductor. So, if we put I0 plus equal to 0, so let us put t equal to 0 here. So, we get e to the power 0 equal to 1 multiplied by C1 into e to the power 0 plus C2 into e to the power 0, that is equal to 0 also. So, finally we get C1 plus C2 equal to 0. So, from that we get C1 equal to minus C2. So, let us put the condition C1 equal to minus C2 here. So, we will get the solution of current IT equal to, let us take common C1 e to the power beta t minus e to the power minus beta t. If we introduce a term 2 here, it should be adjusted here by another 2 in the denominator. Now, this term is a hyperbolic function given by sin h beta t. So, the final solution of current can be written IT equal to 2 C1 e to the power minus alpha t times of sin h beta t. This is the solution. Now, value C1 can also be obtained by using the relation at t equal to 0 plus VL 0 plus equal to supply voltage V, since the inductor behaves like open circuit initially, where VL 0 plus is given by L of at t equal to 0 plus, this is our V. So, using this condition we can obtain the value of C1 also. So, the current expression is a hyperbolic function. The plot of current is 0 initially, at t equal to 0 current is 0, and at steady state when t approaches infinity it will become 0 again. Between these two states the current response exhibit a response like that, which is said to be an overdamped one. So, let us remember the case again. For damping ratio higher than unity, we have overdamped response of current. Similarly, in the solution of capacitor voltage, we get the same complementary function. This was the characteristics equation, differential equation of the capacitor voltage, and its corresponding characteristics equation is P square plus R by L P plus 1 upon LC equal to 0. So, P equal to minus alpha plus minus beta, where alpha is given by minus R by 2L and beta is given by under root R by 12 whole square minus 1 upon LC. Now, VCT has similar term. This is the complementary function, just earlier calculation, and this is the particular integral or steady state, because at steady state it should be VC, at steady state, this equation will be Vc by L, V by Lc. So, it is a non-homogeneous equation, and from this relation we get the particular integral Pi. So, the solution of capacitor voltage, we get the same complementary function in addition with a particular integral term. The particular integral is also the steady state response of the capacitor voltage, that is equal to the source DC voltage, and the plot of capacitor voltage with respect to time is also overdamped. So, moving on to case 2, when the discriminant of the roots is 0, that means beta square is 0, beta is 0, that is R by 2L whole square is equal to 1 upon LC, and from that we can obtain zeta equal to unity, because we know zeta equal to this ratio. Since beta equal to 0, the roots are real and equal, given by only minus alpha, where alpha equal to only R by 2L. For this case, solution of the current response is in this form: C1 plus C2 times t whole multiplied by e to the power minus alpha t. From the initial condition, that is I0 minus equal to I0 plus equal to 0, we have 0 equal to C1. So C1 is coming out to be 0. So finally IT can be written in this form: C2 times of t into e to the power minus alpha t. This type of response is called critically damped response, as shown here. The transient here dies out quickly and the peak value of the current is higher with respect to the overdamped response. The capacitor voltage has also similar response with an additional term V as previous. So VCT will be like that, some constant C prime multiplied by t into e to the power minus alpha t. This is the complementary function part, and this is the V plus V. This is the particular integral part. So overdamped response is for zeta greater than 1 and critically damped response is for zeta equal to 1. Zeta is the damping ratio. Case 3, when the discriminant is less than 0, that is negative discriminant of the roots, that means beta square is negative, beta square is less than 0. So beta square is r by 12 whole square minus 1 upon LC, which is less than 0. From that we can write down r square is less than 4L by C. From that we can obtain zeta is less than 1, damping ratio zeta is less than 1. And corresponding roots will be in this form. Since beta square is negative, omega d square can be written as minus beta square. So these are the root. P1, 2 can be written in this form, minus alpha plus minus, in place of beta we can write down j omega d, because actually P12 were what? P12, this is the minus r by 12 plus minus under root minus of 1 by LC minus r by 12 whole square, this term. So this is alpha and this is j omega. Here omega d squared is equal to the minus beta squared. For such a case, the solution becomes in this form: I of t equal to C1 cosine omega t omega dt plus C2 sine omega dt multiplied by e to the power minus alpha t, subjected to the same initial condition, I0 minus equal to I0 plus equal to 0. So at t equal to 0 current is 0, C1 cos omega dt is C1 and the rest part is 0. So C1 equal to coming out to be 0. So using this condition, C1 equal to 0, we have IT equal to some constant current C2 into e to the power minus alpha t multiplied by sine of omega dt. So this part represents the amplitude, which is exponential decaying like that, and omega d is known as the damped frequency of oscillation. So the response is sinusoidal with its amplitude exponentially decaying. This type of response is called underdamped response. Here alpha equal to r by 12, this is the damping factor that determines how fast the amplitude damped out, and omega d is the damped frequency of oscillation. Now omega d can be represented in terms of natural frequency of oscillation omega n and zeta. Actually omega d square equal to minus of beta square, that is actually 1 upon LC minus r by 12 whole square. Now omega d square can be written in this form: omega n square minus alpha square, because 1 by LC, this is nothing but omega n square, and r by 12 square, that is alpha square. From that, if we take common omega n square, it will be 1 minus alpha by omega n whole square, that is actually omega n square into 1 minus zeta square. So finally we can write this omega d is omega n times of root of 1 minus zeta square. So, solution in terms of damping factor and damping ratio and natural frequency of oscillation. So, P12 roots of the characteristics equation is minus alpha plus minus beta, which can be represented in this fashion, since alpha equal to zeta omega n and beta equal to under root zeta square minus 1 times of omega n. Since zeta is less than 1 here, so minus 1 is taken common, 1 minus zeta square times of omega n. So this root of minus 1 is appeared as j equal to root of minus 1, and the rest of the part can be written in this form omega n times of root of 1 minus zeta square, which is denoted by omega d, that is the damped frequency of oscillation. Now, solution of capacitor voltage when zeta less than unity, VCT will be in similar form, some constant c into e to the power minus alpha t into sine omega dt. This is the complementary function part, and also addition or steady state part, or particular integral is the steady state voltage given by V. So, this is the underdamped response. So, the response of VCT is also underdamped in nature, and the response finally settles down to steady state voltage V. A special case arises when resistance of the circuit is equal to 0. Then the circuit consists of a pure inductor and pure capacitor connected to the energy source. Roots of the characteristics equation P1 P2 minus alpha plus minus beta, here alpha is 0, so plus minus beta, it will be plus minus, what is beta, under root r by 12 whole square, since r by r is 0, this term is 0, minus 1 upon LC. So basically it is plus minus j times of 1 by root LC, which is nothing but omega n. So the roots for this case when resistance of the circuit is 0, they are complex conjugate and also purely imaginary. Now zeta, that is the damping ratio given by r by 2 root c by L, this is also 0 since resistance is 0. The expression of current can be written from underdamped response, some constant c e to the power 0 since alpha is 0, sine omega d. So omega d, let us write down omega d, omega n under root 1 minus zeta square, since zeta is 0, it is omega n. So let us write it sine omega n t. So current is some constant c into sine omega n t. It is called c dashed or c double dashed. That means the current is oscillating with natural frequency, and as no damping is present there, this oscillation sustains. This type of response is said to be undamped response or sustained oscillation. Although this type of circuit is not practically feasible, they are used in many electrical systems to use the effect of current oscillations. And voltage across the capacitor will exhibit similar oscillations around its steady state level V. The time period of this oscillation is given by 2 pi by omega n, where omega n is the natural frequency of oscillation. Let us write down the expression of Vc also. Vct has also two parts. One is complementary function that is similar to the current. Suppose some V0 times of sine omega nt plus the steady state part is V. Let us summarize this. All kinds of response at a glance. The value of R, L and C will determine the dynamic parameters like damping factor, damping ratio and natural frequency of oscillation. For different values of damping ratios, responses will be different. Basically, all second order systems have similar responses depending on their parameter settings. So when R square is greater than 4L by C, roots are real but unequal. and the damping ratio is higher than unity, beta square is greater than 0, and the overdamped response is exhibited. When this ratio 4L by C is equal to R square, damping ratio becomes equal to 1. The roots of the equation are real and equal to each other, and beta is 0, that is discriminant is 0. The response exhibit critical damping. For underdamped response, R square is less than 4L by C. The damping ratio zeta is less than unity, and for that roots are complex conjugates with negative real parts. In that case, the response exhibits underdamped oscillation like this. And for undamped response, when R is 0, that is zeta equal to 0, damping ratio is 0, roots are purely imaginary and complex conjugate, the current will exhibit sustained oscillation. Here these are the roots of the characteristics equation, where alpha is R by 2L, beta equal to under root R by 2L whole square minus 1 upon LC, and omega n is the natural frequency of oscillation 1 upon root LC. Zeta is the damping ratio given by damping factor, normalized damping factor, that is alpha by omega n. Value of zeta in terms of R, L and C is given by this relation, zeta equal to R by 2 times of root C by L. And damped frequency of oscillation omega d equal to natural frequency of oscillation omega n times of root of 1 minus zeta square, because beta square equal to minus omega d square. So this is all about the transient in a series RLC circuit. In our next lecture, we will discuss about parallel RLC circuit. Thank you.